Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'll just recite the two verses of the Mangala Charan of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur to his commentary, just to seek the blessings. Ghauram Shukha Satkumodi Pramodi Swabhavikhiya Ghostamaso Nihanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sudhanidir me Manodishtan Swaratim Karotu. प्राचीनवाच सुविचारसोऽहम् अज्ञोऽपि गीतामृतलेशलिप्सुः यते प्रभुरेव मत तदत्र सन्तः शमध्वं शरणागतः. So yesterday we began our discussion from 120 from the first chapter 24th Eva Mukto Rishikesho Gudakeshena Bharata, when we saw a very beautiful commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur of the deeper meaning of Gudakesha, one who gives sweetness to even Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu. Of course, the Tattva point of view, one should become free from ignorance is very important for us. So when one becomes free from all these three states, at least sleep, one should become free from. And then we went into the different reasons. Compassion, he becomes paraya vishta kripaya but it is Vishidan, it's because of material compassion. That's why he's depressed. And then first reason is compassion. He shows compassion, that's why his body is trembling. The second reason we saw was enjoyment. He says, Nacha Rajam Sukanicha, Kimno Rajena Govinda. And the third reason not to fight is Papam Eva Shayet Asman. Sin. We will incur sin by killing, even though they are Atatainas. And we were in this discussion and we discussed this Papam Eva Shayet, and there is references from the, Artha Shastras, Vashishta Smriti and Manusmriti, but superior to them are the Dharma Shastra. So based on Dharma Shastra, I'm speaking that, one should not cause any pain to inflict any pain to any living entity. Ma himsavat sarva bhutani. So he thinks I'm quoting a superior, I'm exhibiting a superior reason for not to, fight. So further he continues now. यद्येप्य एतेन पश्यन्ति लोभोपहत चेतस कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकं कथं न गेहम् अस्माभिः पापादस्माद् निवर्तितुं कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन. Even if they yadi api ete, ete means all they, overcome by greed, lopo upahata chetasa. The consciousness is, covered by lobha. Do not see, na pashanti, the fault of destroying the family. Kulashaya kritam dosham. And the sin in killing friends. Mitra droha cha patakam. Because the specific type of aggressors are the own family people, and the family people, when they're killed, then the kula, the kula dharma, which the superiors follow, when they are not there, then what will happen? Kulashaya kritam dosham. That fault will come. Should not we katam na asmabi? They are not able to see because they are overcome by greed, but at least we can see. Who see the fault in destroying the family? Kulashaya kritam dosham prapashyad bir. Know how to withdraw from this sin. Asmat papad nivartitam geham. We know that. Oh Janardana. So Janardana means we have this understanding. Janardana means the maintainer of all living beings. But in Sanskrit, Jana and Ardhana means the killer of all living beings. So, oh Janardana, you are the maintainer of all living beings. If you want, you kill them. But why are you telling me to kill? So you are Janardana. So that's what some of the acharyas give the meaning. Of course, Vishwanath Chakravarti doesn't give this meaning, but I'm just saying. Now, Krishna might say, why does the opposing side want to fight then? If you don't want to fight, but the opposing side is ready to fight, he answers this in this verse. He answers with this verse. So Arjuna answers, because lobo pahata chetasa. They overcome by greed, do not see any fault in destroying the family or any sin in killing friends. Neither in kulashaya nor papa. They don't see because they are overcome by greed. So that's one line purport. As I mentioned, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has not written any purport to any of the verses in the first chapter. Only in the second chapter, beginning from the 12th verse, his purport is there. It's short, sweet, and more elucidating what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying. So it is, added insight into Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. We will see that once we start the second chapter. Now, the fourth reason not to fight is destruction of family tradition. This is from 39 to 43. कुलक्षय प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्मः सनातनाः धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृष्णम् अधर्मो अभिभवत्युत. With the destruction of the family, kulashaya, the eternal proper conduct of the family, sanatana kula dharma. So here one misconception of Arjuna is that he considers the kula dharma itself as the sanatana. No? The Kula Dharma itself as the Sanatan Dharma. So Kula Dharma cha Sanatana is destroyed, Pranashanti. When that Dharma is destroyed, Dharme Nashte, the family, Kulam, is completely filled with Adharma. Krishnam means completely. Krishnam is not Krishna. Krishnam means completely. Is completely filled with Adharma. Adharmo Abhibhavat Uta Vishwanath Thakur. The right conduct maintained by the family, which has been passed down for many generations. So it is coming from generations. Sanatana Kula Dharma will be destroyed with the destruction of family, Kulashaya. So because all these family members, elder family members, will be killed in the war. Adharma bhaviva adharma bhavi adharma bhi bhavat Krishna. प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः स्त्रीषु दृष्टासु वार्ष्णेय जायते वर्णसंकरः. From prevalence of adharma abhibhavat. Because in the previous verse it was adharma abhibhavat. Adharma will happen, and from adharma comes what? Pradushyanti kulastriya. The women of the family become contaminated. Pradushyanti kulastriya. Strishu drishtashu varshne. Oh Krishna, when the women are spoiled, Trishu dushtashu varshne, mixed varnas arise. Jayante varna sankara. When adharma is prevalent, the women of the family will become spoiled, pradushanti, by becoming adulterous. That's it, one line commentary. Sankaro naraka eva kulagyanam kulasya cha patanti pitro hi esham luptapindodaka kriyah. Mixed caste in the family, Kulasya Sankara, Varna Sankara it was mentioned. So Kulasya Sankara brings hell for those who have destroyed their family members. Kulagyanam Narakaya Eva. The forefathers fall, Patanti Pitro Yesham, being deprived of Pinda and water offerings. Lupta Pinda Udaka Kriya. So then the family tradition, which is, offering rin to the devtas, the forefathers, all that, all those religious activities which are supposed to be done, all will stop. And the pitras, who might not be having a gross body or they might be suffering, they will fall down from these, you know. So that is what, and you can see today, there's no dharma followed, especially even in India, what to speak in our other countries all over the world. So you can imagine what kind of, you know, what kind of, you know, family members, sometimes within the family, there is so much suffering which is coming because the forefathers who have left the world, who have died, we have not performed their religious rites according to the Vedas, and neither we do the Pinda. So much suffering comes, you know. So this is what is being expressed by Arjuna in this verse. Now, there's no purport, but I would like to just highlight on this Lupta Pindodaka Kriya. So you know that Aurangzeb, captured his father, Akbar, no? Right? Akbar, no? It is his father, Aurangzeb. And he took over the kingdom and he was behind the bars. Uh, Correct me, huh? I don't recollect. It was Aurangzeb only who captured, I think, right? Arrested his father, the king. And then he was in the prison, and it was on the bank of the Yamuna, which is flowing. So he was seeing that, these pious Hindus, those who have left. Shahjahan, sorry. Yes, it is Shahjahan. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. I'm not so good in history. So, you know, Shahjahan was saying that, yeah, he built the Taj Mahal. Huh? So he was saying that, see these Hindus, forget, those who are living, those who have left the world, for them also they offer water. Look, the Pinda, the Udaka. Udaka means the water, Kriya. And they do this, and I am still surviving, and he's not even, giving me anything, So this is very important. Interestingly, once I got down from a station and I booked a online Uber car to go to one temple, which was around from the station around 80 kilometers. And it was early in the morning, 5 o'clock, and I just wanted to just relax in the backside and just read. And the driver seemed very calm, composed, very sattvic, person. Never met such a driver. So till the end of the journey, he did not speak, and he was, very peacefully driving the car, and no distractions of the mobile, anything. So after he dropped me to the temple, then he said, "Can I ask you some question?" I said, "Yes," and he was coming from the Abrahamic religion, you know. He said, my father left the world 10 years back, but now also I see there is some disturbance happening in my life, dreams, bad dreams, and something in the home is happening, and I feel that that connection, is not gone, although the body has left. So something is there, I can understand in a sense, and there is some trouble always which you are facing. So I said, you see, you might be following another religion, but I have to tell you reality. This is science, that even though the parents, forefathers leave, the connection with the family is there for 3 generations. And if you don't do these religious rites, then the reactions come, sufferings come. So interestingly, he said, one of my very close friend is a Brahmana, and I did all these, Shraddha ceremonies. Somebody who's not even a Hindu following a Brahmic religion, so he had done it. So you can imagine now, the forget now those who are Hindus who are performing these things, you know. And devotees, please don't think that we are transcendental. We have to be 100% surrendered to Krishna. Sarva dharman paritejya mam ekam sharanam raja. Till then, these connections, these obligations are there because of the bodily concept of life. If you have not transcended the bodily concept of life and situated on the transcendental position, no, we can artificially say that. But if you are not at that position, then all these things are there. And in a Vaishnav way, we should do it. I feel to set an example to others, and it gives an opportunity to glorify the holy name. So that's why Sanatan Goswami gave the Vaishnav Smriti Shastras, you know. So he composed the Vaishnav Smriti Shastras so that the Vaishnavas can perform all these religious rites, especially for family members, in a Vaishnav way. So that's the point, additional point I just wanted to mention. Apart from, there is no commentary. Doshe rete kula jnanam varna sankara karke उत्सादन्ते जाति धर्मा Kula dharmascha shashvata. So again, Sanatana Kula Dharma had come, and he is telling now Kula Dharma cha shashvata, eternal again. Both caste and family rules. Jati dharma, kula dharma cha shashvata. Both, he's comparing now, are destroyed. Utsadante by this fault of mixed varna. Dosher ete. These are the faults, two faults caused by killers of family members. Varna sankara karake kulagyanam. Kulagyanam means those are killers of the family members. So there is, what is this jati dharma and kula dharma? There is like, the caste and the family rules. So the caste is a general, like, you're Brahmin in a Vaishya caste, But within the Vaishya, there are different families, and each of the families have different, sometimes a little different rules they follow. So like that, these are the Jati Dharma and the Kula Dharma. That's a slight difference between the two. Vishwanath Chandra Thakur. By the faults of mixture of caste, both the caste rules and the family rules will be destroyed. Utsadante. उत्सन्न कुलधर्माणां मनुष्याणां जनार्दन नरके नियतं वासो भवत्येत्य अनुशुश्रुमा. O Janardana, we have heard iti anushushuma that those men whose family rules are destroyed, utsanna kula dharmana manushanam, live in hell permanently. Narake niyatam vasa bhavati. So he's quoting authority that we have heard from authorities. Of course, nobody eternally stays in hell. After the punishment time is over, then he is gradually elevated to higher species. Now, after deliberation on all these kind of, then he becomes heavily loaded. His head is heavily loaded. Aho bata mahat papam kartum vyavasita vayam yad raj sukha lobena hantum swajanam udyata. We are intent on committing great sin. Aho bata mahat papam kartum vyavasita vayam. Since we are ready to kill our own people. Yad swajanam hantum udyata, for gain of happiness of a kingdom. Raja sukha lobena. Now he decides, Yadi mam apratikaram ashastram shastrapanaya dhatarashtrarane hanyus tanme shemataram bhaved. So now he makes his resolute determination. It would be better for me. Tad me shemataram bhaved. Shema means it is better. What? If the sons of Dhritarashtra, Yadi Dhatarashtra, weapons in hand, Shastra Panaya. Shastra means the weapons, Panaya means the hands. Where to kill me? Mam Rane Hanyu. Without weapons. Ashastram. I am without weapons and without opposition. Apratikaram. I will not oppose. Let them kill me. It is better. Just imagine the kind of delusion Arjuna is, that he's ready to, give his life, and if enemy attacks, I will not attack. He's completely so much bewildered, and the same Arjuna, when he hears the Bhagavad Gita, when Karna's, chariot is stuck, wheel is stuck, and he gets down from the chariot and is trying to remove the wheel out. At that time, Krishna tells him, shoot. And Arjuna shoots the arrows. This is Sarvadharman Parityajya, to follow the will of the Lord. But now he's Sarvadharman Parityajya to his family members. Let them kill me. I will not oppose with weapons. Let them come with weapons in hands, but I will be without weapons and without opposition. So this is the state of Arjuna. Now, Sanjay describes, the conversation goes back to Sanjay and Dhritarashtra, and Sanjay describes to Dhritarashtra, Eva Muktarjuna Sanke Ratopasta Upavishat Vishajam Sharam Chapam Shoka Samvigna Manasa. Speaking in this manner, Eva Mukta Uktva Arjuna, giving up his bow and arrow, Visraja Shasharam Chapam. He gave up his bow and arrow, the Gandiva bow, which he had told that, sat down on his chariot, Ratam Upasta Upavishat. He was so much overwhelmed by stress and depression that he put his hand on his head and he just sat down. amidst the warriors assembled for battle. Sankhe for a, Shoka Samvigna Manasa. So this is the state of Arjuna. Sitting on his chariot, Rato Upastha, amidst the assembly of warriors, Sankhe, Arjuna gave up his weapons. So for a Kshatriya to on the battlefield to show this kind of cowardice, and that too for Arjuna, you can imagine what level of depression he must be, going through, by, Krishna who arranged by Yogamaya to put him in Mahamaya. Okay, so that ends the first chapter, and it just took us maybe two classes, another half class. Of course, there are no much purports in the first chapter. So, but again, if you have any questions, I can take up before we start with the second chapter. Any questions, any clarifications up till now? Okay, one hand has been raised. Any others have any question? Okay, Shri Lalita Sumukhi Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So actually, we do not need to do what do that pitrin, no, to clear them off from that pindadan. Krishna's devotees do not need to do it, right?
But are we Krishna's devotees?
Why aren't we?
Devotee means a pure devotee from
Okay,
one sense. I'm
okay,
just, we have a very vague understanding of, sometimes the statements of Prabhupada, you know, and I'm actually going to Prabhupada's purport to clarify this. Okay, I'm just
okay,
because Prabhupada quotes that. Yeah. Uh, So please try to understand this very carefully.
okay.
This is very important. Now, Prabhupada on Sankaro Narakaya Eva, Mm. According to the rules and regulations of fruit activity, there is need to offer periodical food and water to the forefathers. This offering is performed by worship of Vishnu because eating the remnants of food offered to Vishnu can deliver one from all kinds of. Sometimes the forefathers may be suffering from various types of sinful, and sometimes some of them cannot even acquire a gross material body and forced to remain in subtle bodies as ghosts. Thus, when remnants of Shadam food are offered to forefathers by descendants, the forefathers are released from ghostly or all kinds of misery. Such help rendered to the forefathers in the family tradition are, and those who are not in devotional life are required to perform such rituals. So we are basing this on Prabhupada's statement. Now here one who is engaged in devotional service is not required to perform such actions. Simply by performing devotional service, one can deliver hundreds and thousands of others from all kinds of ways. It is stated now. देव ऋषि भूताप्तो नृणाम पितॄणाम ना किंकरो नायम ऋणी च राजन सर्वात्मना यह शरण्यम शरण्यम शरणम शरण्यम gato mukunda paryant. So anyone who has taken wholeheartedly full shelter of Mukunda, of course, the word to word meaning when you see it becomes very, very clear that,
Okay,
one has to take, complete surrender of Krishna. That means he should be a pure devotee, one who has
okay,
surrendered, you
okay,
know. So
okay,
as long as we have our swabhava conditioning,
okay.
as long as we are not on the platform of sarva dharman parityajya, we have to understand. Are you doing anything to maintain your body or directly your ananya bhakta where ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana pari upasate tesham nitya abhyuktayanam yogakshema vahamyam.
Mm.
Do you go for yatras?
Yes, Prabhu.
You make some arrangement or you're completely dependent on Krishna. Krishna will take care of everything, my food, even if I go to the mountains.
Uh,
Huh?
yeah, we arrange for 100% of comfort. Yeah,
Because we don't have faith in Krishna
yeah.
that Krishna will arrange. Ananya Bhakta means 24 hours his thought, he has no other thought other than Krishna. Na Anya, who
Okay,
is completely surrendered to Krishna.
okay,
So we are in the process of surrender, you know, and we have to come to that point, you know. of pure devotional service, practice of pure devotional service. Until and unless we have our swabhava, the conditioning of the swabhava, which we are also engaging, and we are not influenced by the modes. Mahatmana sumam partha daivim prakriti mashrita bhajante ananya manaso gyatva putanam. So we have to understand whether we are completely taken the shelter of internal energy. If we ask these questions, then we'll be very clear.
Yeah.
And you can, dig in yourself and see, when family members, we are, based on the relationships, we get affected. When they leave the world, we get affected or no. If we are getting affected, that means the bodily concept of the bodily expansions is there. So those obligations are there. And we cannot imitate that we are transcendental. Are we getting this point?
Yes, Prabhu.
So it's very clear that as long as one is not on the transcendental platform, and even if one is on the transcendental platform, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Swayam Bhagavan himself. Of course, the external reason he went to Gaya was to perform the Shraddha, but the internal reason was he wanted to meet his spiritual master. So, and he had to follow the customs during that time so that people will, uh, will be favorable. So we have to balance these things. First of all, we have to understand that, if somebody very near and dear in our family leaves,
Mm.
then our consciousness is affected for a few days.
Yes.
Only if we are on the transcendental platform, then we are not affected. Otherwise the effect is there definitely. So if we are not transcendently situated, then we are not 100% surrendered, then these have to be done in a Vaishnava way. That's the point I wanted to make. Is it clear, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Does it make sense? No.
Yes, yes. Actually, like I was thinking of, suppose like my in-laws' parents, they don't offer, even though they are not practicing Krishna consciousness, they don't offer to ancestors. So then, can we do it? Because
Yes, you'll have to invite them and you can do it and have Hare Krishna Kirtan and then give prasad so that they
oh,
also become favorable because
okay,
the connections are there. Please remember,
correct,
the connections are there both from the paternal side and the maternal side.
correct.
Recently, I was reading an article that, sometimes, although we take up to practices of spiritual life, but we have our conditioned habits. Sometimes somebody is very abusive by nature. Somebody has a certain type of psychology, right? And
Yes,
that can be not favorable in our practice of devotional side because sometimes somebody is having depression because their family in that generation, they have these things. So the
correct,
three generations of families, all their effects are there, and we have still not transcended that.
correct.
So they become an obstacle in our practice of devotion. So we have to see that we make everything favorable so that we can practice and sadhana and lead a pure life, a life free of sin.
Okay.
Now, it is a fact and reality that devotees, after 20 years of practice, also they have issues with, not able to control their temper. And, there are, although they come, chant, practice, attend yatras, gives lectures, but they are not well behaved with their own family members, or husband is not well behaved with the wife or children, and all their that conditioned swabhav, that tendencies, they all exhibit this after even 15, 20 years. That means, the transformation, inner transformation has not happened because the conditionings are very deep rooted. So the samskars are there for purification of the swabhava. And as long as we are not having this deep samskars of bhakti where, we have transcended all these, then, it will affect us. I hope it is clear.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Hmm? Okay. Sumit Kapoor
Thank you.
Prabhuji, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Prabhuji, thank you for this first chapter explanation. So, these five reasons what Arjun has given,
Hmm.
uh, presented in front in to the Lord. So, so we understand that Arjuna is in the bodily conception of life, when he is presenting these reasons. So,
Yes.
how do we understand this? That these reasons that he has given
Mhm.
are how can we understand that as a part of the spiritual learning from Bhagavad Gita?
I'm not really exactly trying to get what exactly you are trying to say.
Okay, so let me rephrase this. So this arguments which Arjuna is placing,
Mm. Yes.
these are uh, from the bodily conception of life, because he's using the word kula dharma sanat.
Uh, compassion.
Uh,
Compassion is also on the
almost
bodily concept.
everything related to the body and the bodily relations.
Hmm.
So how can we understand these reasons? Because our goal is to transcend from Adhyatma Buddhi to Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. So how do we understand that these reasons are the real reasons that Arjuna is giving, and how can we understand it in a spiritual angle, from spiritual angle?
I'm still not able to figure out what you're trying to say, but let me tell you first. Now, these reasons, these five reasons which are there, actually, none of the acharyas, whether it's Baldev Vidyabhushan or Prabhupada or Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, gave this. Bhurijan Prabhu in his Surrender Unto Me,
Mm,
and it makes sense also, and the compassion is there, and then Papa is there, Kulashaya is there.
mm,
So it makes sense. So these are there. But when you go to the second chapter,
mm,
Krishna will counter those,
mm,
you know.
mm,
So
mm.
from the counter, you can understand that this is referring to this reason, this is referring to this reason, this is referring to this reason, and this is referring to this one.
Okay.
So yeah, I am now able to little figure out. So how do we understand that we are also caught up in this kind of illusion? When we are situated, when we understand Krishna's answers first,
Mm,
and we are transcended that bodily consciousness,
mhm,
so that compassion, Prabhupada will, compassion for the dress is senseless, he says.
mm,
Compassion for the body is senseless. Real compassion is for the soul.
mm,
So generally, to come to the compassion of the soul, actually, we have to be, self-realized. We have
mm,
to realize that we are the soul. That means we are speaking about Nishta stage. Only in the stage of Ruchi, actually, one is relishing, the sweetness of the Lord. And actually, the Papa Bijas are destroyed at the stage of Ruchi. And one is relishing the sweetness of the Lord, and then he feels, compassion to these jivas who are relishing mundane happiness, which is, tucha, which is miserable, which will bind them in the cycle of that. And actually, from the core of his heart, he feels compassion.
mm,
So, by studying the wisdom of the Gita, gradually we can see there's a transition from, you know, the Dehatma Buddhi to the Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. So that
mm,
will happen. And that's why, I also feel that after many years also, still I'm stuck in second chapter.
mm,
Because, we have still not, I have, at least for me, we have not still realized that we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. So second chapter, that's why I find it the most difficult,
mm,
because Krishna does that Sankhya analysis. How many of us feel that, we are liberated and we realize we are the spirit soul and not this body? We have transcended the bodily consciousness. It's not easy.
mm,
So that's why one should repeatedly study the second chapter, I feel. One
mm,
should repeatedly hear Prabhupada lectures, which he gave beginning in New York,
mm,
many, many times one should hear and understand. So it takes quite a lot. And when you come to the Sthita Pragya section, we can realize that none of these symptoms, I'm nowhere near these symptoms. So as long as we don't develop those symptoms, then we have to understand that we are in illusion. So there are two types of illusion we have to understand. Like, suppose it's dark and you're entering the room and you see that there is something like you know, it's actually a rope, but because it is dark, you feel it is a snake.
mm,
But when the light is on, oh, you see the reality. Oh, it's not a snake, it's a rope, and your illusion is gone.
mm,
But we hear the philosophy, we are not this body,
mm,
we are spirit soul. But as long as we don't realize,
mm,
till then the illusion continues.
mm,
So as long as one doesn't come to the stage of Nishta and one is not fully realized, till then the illusion, although theoretically we understand the Gyan is there, but it is not realized knowledge, Vigyan.
It is not
So that
realized.
is why we have to come to that platform of Vigyan, and then only we can, we can understand that, we are out of the illusion. So basically, it is to bring Arjuna out of the illusion. And if you now, we are going to study Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary, but yeah, in one sense, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur brings it, but more Baldev Vidyabhushan brings out, the progressive, gradual evolution Krishna takes right from 2.7 to 18.66. Vishwanath Chakra Thakur brings out more, but it's Baldev Vidyabhushan who does it. Prabhupada doesn't do that. Prabhupada just gives the bhakti purports to all the, even the first chapter also, second chapter also.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a gradual evolution happening. There is a gradual progression in the philosophy. Krishna is giving step by step process. It's not directly the bhakti process given in the beginning. He introduces it, but there's a gradual progression you can see. And understanding that also helps us so that we can see that how we are making progress in our bhakti. So that's why that kind of a critical study of the Bhagavad Gita is necessary over a period of time. And that helps us to, minutely analyze even our situation when we can see that, oh, these symptoms are not in me. So, especially this, we will see more in the Sthita Pragya section. Not more in the Sthita Pragya section, we will see it more in the third chapter. The third chapter, not the third chapter, the fourth chapter, 4.17 to 4.24. So there, it'll become more evident, how gradually when we are working for Krishna also, that, initially we are attached to our
Mm.
service.
The result.
And we are attached to, that, if I'm giving donation, they should announce my name. If it's not announced, you become disturbed.
Yeah.
So, and gradually we evolve. Our consciousness evolves. It evolves over a period of many, many years. So that kind of progression uh, of a critical study of the Bhagavad Gita is required so that we can evolve in our consciousness. That's important. I
Yes,
hope it's clear.
yes, yes, Guruji. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah. Any other questions anyone else has? Any other clarifications? Okay, one more hand is raised. Purushottam Prasad Prabhuji. Yes.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Pranam Prabhuji. Prabhuji, the section 417 to 24, that explains more about on what context you mentioned, Prabhuji?
Actually, Krishna speaks about how the Karma Yogi evolves. Different levels are mentioned in that, you know.
Okay, Karma Yoga is different levels. Okay, Prabhuji. Okay, thank you.
And that is directly related to Bhakti Yoga also, because we are also practicing Bhakti Yoga sometimes at the level of Karma Yoga only, because we are doing more actions for Krishna. So there is a parallels we can draw there, and we can see, the different levels mentioned there. Sometimes, uh, I'm just giving an example, just a crude example. We go on book distribution and we tell, even whether it is brahmacharis and congregation, we go together. So we tell that, Arro, please keep the prasad for us. You know, that
Yeah.
consciousness is there, Annamaya
If I
consciousness
don't
is.
get prasadam, oh, okay, okay,
Ah, so that is
okay.
there. But, as you absorb in the service and you
Hmm.
relish the service, you're completely,
Forgotten to
forgotten
think
about
about
it, and you
prasadam.
don't
Yes,
matter,
yes,
it
yes.
doesn't matter for you. And
True.
you forget that you have to take afternoon prasad and come back, So that means you're elevating in your consciousness. So
Okay,
like that,
okay.
these gradual steps are there. Once we come there, we will look into it. Of
Sure,
course,
Prabhu. Thank you.
as I mentioned, Baldev Vidyabhushan goes into a more detail. So when we study his commentary, we will see from that angle. But whatever Vishwanath Chakravarti says, I will just be speaking only that.
Sure, Prabhu.
We will go
Thank
through
you.
it a little bit, because that is helpful for our practical evaluation.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Bir Krish Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dhanapram. Prabhu, this Arjuna's Arjuna's reason for not fighting the war.
Mhm.
How these reasons would be seen for we, I mean, as a practicing devotees, how do we see these reasons? Of course, these are on bodily platform,
Mhm.
but if you see from, we don't know much about Dharma Shastra, but from those angles, it looks like he's also speaking correct. So, as a devotee, Prabhu, how what we can draw with
Oh, very,
his
very,
logics?
very, very important question. Very interesting question and very important question. Yes. You know, I'll just give you the example of fear of sinful reactions. Okay. Now, when sometimes devotees have to do some service where, there's a daring act, you know, there's a daring act you have to perform, where there is a little threat, I think there is some distraction. Let me mute all of you. Yeah. So where you have to confront, there are some gundas or someone who has come in the temple and you have to confront. But if you are fearless, you will confront them. But if you are in the bodily consciousness, then you'll have fear. Just like Arjuna has fear of sinful reactions because of bodily consciousness and the compassion. And you might, because of bodily consciousness, you might, be not ready to take up that step. I'm not speaking that this is only Kshatriya mood we should have, even, and you can see, the classic example is, I don't know which year it is, maybe 80s or 90s. Mayapur temple was attacked by dacoits, who threw, who had come with weapons, guns and even grenades. And His Holiness Bhakti Raghav Goswami Maharaj fearlessly, to protect the deities, he went, attacked, and one of the grenade bombs, fell on his leg and he lost his leg. So fearless he was, you know. So, and that's why you can see that, there is no fear because one has transcended the bodily consciousness. So, especially, not all, at least compassion, enjoyment, fearful of sinful reactions. Now, the destruction of family traditions is a little subtle, which will be dealt in the second chapter. That time, sometimes, uh, we are caught in this dilemma that, uh, uh, our bodily connections, there are some family programs which we are attached to and we are there, and then there is a spiritual program. So among the two, we have to decide. Sometimes, fanatically, if we do things that can disturb these things also, but sometimes we have attachment to that and we feel more obligated to the social obligations rather than the spiritual obligations, for Krishna, because that connection is not deep. So all these things, we can see within ourselves, and that can show that, it's because of bodily consciousness, because of illusion. I hope it makes it clear.
Thank you, bro. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions anyone else has about this first chapter, which we have concluded? Of course, only in relation to the discussion, this first chapter. No out of context questions. Any other clarification anyone else has? So I feel it's 8 o'clock and just 15 minutes are remaining. It's not right to start the new chapter. And better to start the new chapter fresh from the first verse onwards. So we will begin that tomorrow and, continue our discussion tomorrow then. Thank you very, very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.